All right, guys, how's everybody doing? This is Richard Duffy, also known as Reverend Rich. And again, I'm back again to share with you the metaphysical approach to wealth and prosperity. And I am adding a part two. Yesterday evening's video was the metaphysical approach to prosperity. And we talked about the key to prosperity is the attitude. Well, there was a lot of information in this particular chapter that Catherine Ponder discussed in reference to attitude. And I didn't want to have a very long, lengthy video. So I decided to have the metaphysical approach to wealth and prosperity attitude two. All right, part two. Okay, so this is really phenomenal. And I'm going to say it again that these two videos, if you get these two right, and if you really work on your mental attitude and realize that that is your key to achieving whatever you want in life, good relationships, great health, financial independence, a loving spirit, a person who is always grateful, great attitude. I mean, you would just have unlimited good just coming into your life all the time, just because you have learned the key to success is having a great attitude. All right. So my goal is to spread the prosperity and wealth consciousness all over the world. And so my prayer is that you have been touched in some kind of way when you watch these videos, and something has triggered within you, something has awakened the spark, the infinite potential that's within you has been awakened. And so you know that whatever it is that you desire, it's already for you. Matter of fact, that which you seek is seeking you. So, this is truly exciting, and I'm happy about the platform and the area of sharing, this message to the world. All right. So let's get right into it. We're going to look at what she says here in reference to the attitude. And she started off, and I'll just give you a brief um, introduction of what we talked about yesterday, or last evening. And we said that one of the most important things to understand is realizing that God, universal mind, is the source of your wealth or the source of your supply. And she talked about a key word she used in there where she said the Father is this rich universe. Okay. And I mentioned over and over again that if we live in a rich universe, then why wouldn't God want you to experience success, happiness in all areas of your life? Why wouldn't the Father, your creator, everyone's a child of God, why would not God want us to enjoy wealth and prosperity and success and happiness, since we do live in a rich universe? And there are some key factors in helping us understand why some do enjoy this rich universe and why many others don't. And so I'm hoping that if those of you that's watching this video, you're one of the ones that say, you know what? It's time for me is to experience that which is divinely mine. I want to experience that which is my heritage to experience. It is my right to be healthy. It is my right to be happy. It is my right to have wealth, abundance, prosperity, money, good relationships, driving in beautiful cars, if that's what I want. Whatever it is that gives me that great experience, I can have it. There is nothing stopping me other than a negative attitude. Okay, so let's look at this. She goes on to say that, of course, the wonderful thing about recognizing God as the source of all riches and taking him into your financial affairs and into every department of your life. Now, this is so important because I remember growing up in church, and there's a key scripture that says to acknowledge God in all your ways and he'll direct your paths. And acknowledging God in business is being heard of more now, but it wasn't heard of much then. Acknowledging God in every area of your life. You know, success will be inevitable for you if you learn to plug God in. Don't let God be something that you worship just on a given Sunday when you attend a church service. And then you go to work or you run your business and God's nowhere to be seen or heard. And what I mean by that is that you don't acknowledge God how to become better when I'm dealing with customers, when I'm dealing with angry customers, or I'm dealing with frustrated customers, or we don't acknowledge God and how do I deal with people who work for me, and how do I improve, help them to improve their job and make them feel good about themselves. A lot of times, God is left out when it comes to business affairs. A lot of times, God is left out when it comes to relationships affairs. How can I be a better coworker? You know, how can I have build a greater relationship so we can, so the job that we're doing, it can be done efficient and we can enjoy being with each other while we're doing the job. You know, a lot of times God is put on the side and we pick God up Sunday morning. Here she is emphasizing this part. She says the source of all riches, taking him into your financial affairs, into every department of your life. Not only in your financial affairs, but every department. You know what? And a lot of times people don't include God until problems come. So when you're not getting enough sales, okay, I need to start praying. If my business is not working, I need to start praying. How many know that a lot of times we turn within when challenges are we're facing challenges and things are getting tough and we're starting to hurt, and we turn within? Well, let me encourage you on this point. Why not make a habit of seeking God in every department of your life? So when those challenging times arrive, when those difficult moments come, you can easily handle them, right? You can easily handle them because you have acknowledged God in every department of your life. And so they don't blow you over. Okay. You don't feel defeated or you don't feel hopeless if you acknowledge God in every single department of your life. But again, this is talking about attitude, because having a negative attitude about things when they're not working right like you want. And if you continue with this negative trend, sooner or later you'll go down this spiral and you'll end up have to be on medication, have to be on, depression medicine, because you've been going through this trend of being negative all the time, and you end up having to have medical help. Okay, so my encouragement to you on this lesson is to acknowledge God in every single department of your life. If you're a parent out here, and we all have children. Mine are adults now, but I remember when they were teenagers, and I remember many times going within, asking for wisdom. You know, when my children were born, there was not a book. A book didn't come with parenting. So the key to successful parenting, in my opinion, is seeking God, turning within, and allowing the infinite intelligence to give you wisdom, when to talk, when not to talk, when not to get all upset about some situations, and this time you need to really do this. These are key things in helping you stay in a positive mode. Okay, and I'm going to share with you the next step why this is important. You see, when we acknowledge God in every department of our lives, then that's why everything begins to flow easily, and every area in our life is balanced. And so our relationships is going great, our business is going great, our finances are going great, our health is going great, everything is going wonderful when we acknowledge God in every single department. But if we only want to acknowledge God in one area, then other areas are going to go lacking. And that's when the negative mindset or the negative attitude starts getting in. And if you're not careful, you find yourself negative about a lot of things over and over again. And that's when we get ourselves in trouble. Okay? So here's another important part. It says, in due time, there will be no stagnant financial emergencies, as I mentioned earlier, to be dramatically met with instant manna from heaven. Instead, things are just get better and better financially. You see, when we acknowledge God consistently in the department of our finances, and if we do that consistently, so then whenever some dramatic thing, happens, flat tire or so many different things that occur, the answer comes easily and smoothly because we have been planting the right seeds. Be not deceived, God's not mocked. Whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. So the question is, what do you sow? Well, you recognize that if you're not acknowledging God in every department, you're sowing negative thoughts. And we can't fool God. We can't fool the universe, because that which we sow, those thoughts that we constantly plant, we reap those things. Okay, so that's why it's so important that we acknowledge God in every department of our lives. And then she says, so that there is always substance on hand to meet every need. Okay, the psalmist saying, this is my favorite scripture of all time. It says, in order to have this unlimited supply continue to flow into your life, it says, but his delight is in the law of Jehovah. His delight is in the law. His delight is in the understanding of spiritual law. He's a student, and he or she continues to meditate day and night. They continue to hold the consciousness, hold the idea of abundance instead of the idea of lack and limitation. They meditate on that which is true day and night. What is true? We live in a rich universe. What is not true? Lack and limitation. We meditate day and night on that part that is unlimited. Okay? We meditate day and night. And look what happens when you meditate day and night. It goes on to say you'll become like a tree planted by the rivers of water. There's a certain point that when you plant a tree, and the first time you plant the tree, you can take one hand and pull it up. Well, wait about 6 months. It takes more than just one hand to pull that tree up. Wait about a year, 2 years. You can't dig that tree up. You need someone to come with a machine. Wait 20 years, it is very difficult to move. Wow, did you hear that? So when it comes to your affairs in life, when you are planting the right seeds, and when you're planting these abundant seeds consistently over and over again, then it's very difficult for you to have lack experiences. And even if you have them, it's not long. We've heard of stories, excuse me, where people have lost their millions And in a couple of years, they brought it back and even more. Okay, because they never maintain a negative attitude about the experience. Okay, so I may have lost out on this particular deal, or this particular project did not work. That is okay. I have infinite ideas within my own mind. So if that idea does not unfold, another idea will come. I will pursue that idea. If it's right and it feels good in my heart, let's go for that one. And then eventually, a year or 2 years, they're back on top again. Why is that? They meditate day and night to be positive. Did you hear me? They look for the good in every situation. And they become like a tree planted by the rivers of water. Their leaves don't wither. And everything they do, they prosper. Isn't that amazing? Ain't that powerful? Look at this. Then says the link between thought and supply. Perhaps you are thinking, if my prosperity comes basically from God, if he is the source of my supply, then why all the talk about prosperous thinking? What does prosperous thinking have to do with my supply? Wow, that is an important question there. What does prosperous thinking have to do with my supply? Well, you remember, I believe it's John 4:24 when Jesus said that God is a spirit. Where God is spirit, universal energy. Okay, not something you can put your hands on. Okay, so also recognize that God's mind and your mind, that's that communication factor. Okay, our mind and God's mind are linked together. Let me give you an example. Everything that you and I need already exists right now. It's all around us, everywhere. Right now, all the abundance that I could ever imagine or want right now, I have. That's true. Anything that I need right now, I have it right now. He that hath that understanding, more understanding is given to him. He that don't have that understanding, that everything he needs already exists for him right now, that even that which he thought he had is taken away. Which simply means is that he or she will start having a very negative attitude about everybody's life, and it's everybody's fault. They're mad with everybody because even that which they thought they had, that is taken away. Okay, so look at this. The link between thought and supply is our mind with God's mind. All right, here we go. It says here, then why all the talk about prosperous thinking? God's rich supply is all around you universally, as what I just said, as well as innately within you. So not only is God's supply all around me, but it's also within me. In other words, I came forth in this physical body already financed by God. I just been lied to, not by any particular person, but I received a lie by believing in the illusion. When I see a seeming lack or negative situation here, that particular expression or thought becomes real to me, and I accept it as truth. In all reality, it's a lie. My mind convinced me that it's true, that's reality. And in all reality, there is only one abundance. There's not abundance and lack. There's only abundance. There's only universal good. Okay, we've accepted other beliefs, other lies. And so that's why we live in this duality. Some days are good, some days are not. Some days are pleasant, some days are, and then what happens? We end up staying on the negative side. Now, your key to experiencing prosperity in every area of your life is your thought. Okay? This is why Paul said it in Romans, to be carnally minded, which is another way of saying to be negative minded, is death. Doesn't necessarily mean physical death, but people are walking around breathing and they're dead. They're not awake to the understanding that unlimited abundance is all around them and it is innately within them. They believe that if they lose their job, everything else is lost. They believe that when they lose their stock market, there is nothing else they can do. If they have put money into a 401k and something happens and boom, they lose half their savings, they feel like all is lost. They have believed a lie. Somebody gets caught up in a Ponzi scheme and they believe that person and they give them all their money and then come find out that that person was a lie. They believe that there's no more hope for them. That is a lie. That's why prosperous thoughts create supply. Did you hear me? That's why prosperous thoughts create supply. I'm going to show you. Watch this. She goes on to say that if my prosperity comes basically from God, which we already emphasized on the last video, God is the source of my wealth because we live in a rich universe. He is the source of my supply. Then why all the talk about prosperous thinking? So what does prosperous thinking have to do with my supply? God rich supply is all around you universally as well as innately within you. Watch this. As talent, as ability, ideas, longing for expression. It doesn't matter what difficult challenge anyone faces. I mean, I have read so many books of people, successful people who has had unbelievable challenges. But there's one thing that they had, their mind. And if you have your mind, you can create a new experience. I want you need to understand that. To be carnally minded, you don't believe you can create a new experience. But to be spiritually minded, that means to have prosperous thoughts, is life and peace. You have good experiences. You see that? And then you notice Paul kept saying that over and over again. And this is that's what he meant, to either be carnally minded or spiritually minded. Now look what she goes on to say here. She says, your attitudes, your mental concepts, beliefs, and outlook are your connecting link with God's rich substance and your access to it. Hear this. Your mind is your connecting link with it. So my mind is the connecting link to God's mind. That is no different than if I bring a microwave, sit it on my counter, and I can push the start button all I want. Nothing's going to happen until I plug the microwave into the socket, and then energy and power shoots through it. Then I can push the time that I wanted to, how long I wanted to microwave, hit the start button, the microwave starts working, the toaster starts working, the TV starts working. Everything begins to work when the link is connected. Did you catch that one? Everything starts to work when the link is connected. Recognize that our mind is linked to God's mind. God can't help me or support me, or another way of saying bless me, with a negative attitude. Supply can't come into my experience. You know why? Because I don't believe it will. When I'm negative, I don't believe I'm going to get supply. Most of the time when I'm negative, I probably beat myself up, right? I'm probably having negative self-talk about myself. I'm probably going to blame somebody else. I'm probably going to be mad with the president. I'm going to be mad with our governor. I'm going to be mad with our city council. I'm going to be mad at my boss. I'm going to be mad at my child. I'm going to be mad at the dog. You see the whole trend there? And then we want God to flood us with supply. Doesn't happen that way. Now, watch what she says here. She says that your attitude, your mental concept, beliefs, and outlook are your connect link with God's rich substance and your access to it. God can only do for you what he can do through you. God can only do for us what he can do through us. So God works through my mind. When my mind has meditated day and night on the universal abundance that surround me, then God works through me. How does he work through me? Well, she just said how he works through me. With my talent. What are you good at? You see, when a person is negative about themselves and they don't believe in themselves, then they don't see how talented they are. When you feel good about yourself and when you are loving about yourself and when you see yourself positive and wonderful and exciting, you don't care what anybody thinks. You go for it. And what does people do? Listen to me. What does people do when someone's excited and they have energy about themselves and they feel good about themselves? It's almost like a magnet. They start attracting people to their life, and then everybody surrounds them and wants to help them achieve their goal. But no one wants to help someone who's negative all the time. They're turned off by it. Actually, you repel people away from you when you're negative. If you write a book, if you say nobody's going to read it, you're like, well, at least write the book. You never know. No, I don't think nobody's going to read it. If you do a video, nobody's going to watch it. If you sing a song, nobody's going to like it. You get what I'm saying? And so this trend becomes a habit. And then eventually you begin to blame God. Say, well, you know what? This stuff that people talk about God ain't real. He ain't real because he hasn't blessed me. And the truth of the matter is, and like I said before, everything you need is already around you. You have to manifest it through your thought, through your mind that's linked with God mind. Okay? All right. Watch this. So, begin making contact with the rich universal substance, like plugging a toaster into the socket, having the right attitude, right thoughts, right beliefs, right concepts. It's like you're plugging yourself into the mind of infinite intelligence. Wow. Can you imagine? It's like you're plugging yourself into the universal mind that created this world and worlds beyond. True. It's like you are linking yourself up with this universal power, this unlimited good. So look what she says. So begin making contact with this rich universal substance around you and with rich substance within by declaring this often. Now, I love this affirmation. She says, I stir up the gifts of God within me and around me, and I am blessed on every hand with happiness, success, and true achievement. I'm going to read it again. She says, I stir up the gifts of God within me. All of us has gifts, talents, and abilities. Everybody does. You know, it's phenomenal when I see a motivational speaker. I can't remember his name right now, but I can see his face, that he has no arms and no legs. and a phenomenal speaker, because he discovered that it was no need of talking about what he doesn't have, right? What good does it do to talk about what you don't have? Talk about what you do have. What are you good at? Talk about the talent that you do have. It doesn't do you any good to say, well, you know, I can't do that. Okay, but there's something you can do. And that which you do, God adds more. Why? Because you're plugged in. Because you're plugged in. Everybody see that? All right. So I'm going to read this again. I stir up the gifts of God within me. You stir them up by having that positive attitude. You stir it up by meditating day and night. Okay? That's how you keep stirring it up. And I am blessed on every hand with happiness, success, and true achievement. Just by declaring this idea, you will begin stirring up riches of the universe, attracting them to you and expressing them through you. Look what it says. Just by declaring this idea, you will begin to stir up the riches of the universe. Okay? By declaring this, then you'll start attracting them to you and expressing them through you. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that powerful? Remind yourself often that these shocking truths about prosperity, that it is shockingly right instead of shockingly wrong. Remind yourself over and over again. I don't know if you were in my shoes years ago when it came to prosperity and wanting to create wealth, wanted to create financial freedom. You know, there's a saying going on now, want to get paid while you sleep. You know, wouldn't you want to be paid while you're sleeping instead of just being paid only by the hours that you work? I mean, that's old now. Listen, guys, people are now learning how to leverage and learning how to get paid while they're sleeping. That thing about only being paid by the hours you work, there's more and more of ways that supply can come to your life instead of just that one way. Okay? Look what she says. So remind yourself often that the shocking truth about prosperity, that it is shockingly right instead of shockingly wrong, that God created a rich universe for you and wants you to enjoy it. What's the purpose of having all these wonderful galaxies and beautiful mountains and wonderful waterfalls and beautiful trees and beautiful animals, exotic animals, and wonderful ocean and wonderful resort area, and I mean a plethora of things that you and I can enjoy? He created all this rich universe so you can enjoy, right? It's all there for you to enjoy. Look what it says. Then says that prosperity can come quickly through your deliberate use of prosperous thinking. So you can speed up the manifestation of your prosperity by centering your mind on prosperous thoughts and keeping your mind there. Because if you meditate day and night, you're going to be like a tree, okay? And you're going to start manifesting it. Thus, dare to ask friendly, interest, rich, loving fire for guidance often. And we talked about earlier. Don't forget to ask your creator, your father, universal mind, guidance in every department of your life. Watch this. Remember Jehovah God, for he is the one that gave you power to get wealth. Now, launch forth happily and expectantly into the dynamic laws of prosperity, the spiritual and mental laws which can and will transform your life. Solomon realized that the need for exploring when he explained poverty and shame shall be to him that refuse instruction. Do you know why there's so much poverty being experienced in our world? is because we refuse to heed instruction from universal intelligence. Now, if the universe understands how to put the sun and the moon and the stars and everything in place, wouldn't it be wise of us to seek universal intelligence all the time? I would think so. Okay? You can, from this page forward, begin freeing yourself of limitation, lack, and failure as you accept and use the simple, powerful ideas given in this chapter and in the pages to come. You will find yourself on the royal road to success. Furthermore, you will find it a pleasant experience that produces satisfying results. This is the power of prosperous thinking, and it is the shocking, nice truth about it. All right, guys, isn't that awesome? So let's utilize this powerful mind of ours that is linked to the God mind. Stop seeing yourself as this little small person here on earth that doesn't really know why he's here. Get connected with that link that's connected with your mind and God mind, and you'll know why you're here. And you'll start having such prosperous results when that happens. Okay? All right, the next chapter, when I come to you again tomorrow night, we're going to talk about the basic law of prosperity, and that is in chapter 2. Okay? So I pray that you were blessed, and I want to do part 2 in reference to attitude. All right, so again, don't forget to drop a comment at the end of this video. I would love to hear from you. If you like it or you don't like it, just share what you like, share what you would like to see different, because hey, I can use corrective criticism. I'm not immune to it. So if anything that you would like to see changed or you would like to hear, I'm here for you. That's my goal, is to create a world of wealth and prosperity consciousness. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also go to my blog, www.youtube, that's YOUTOOO, YouTubeCanBeRich.com. Read my blog, and also share your comments also in that blog area. All right? This is Richard Duffy, also known as Reverend Rich. Let you know my goal is for you to live rich, happy, prosperous, healthy, and have plenty of money. Peace and blessings.